Hello everyone, welcome along to your Monday night Rangers Rabble Women's Show. My name's Brian, the host, and I am joined again by, as usual, by Wolf, Demi and Alan. Wolf, how are we?
Yeah, I'm fine, Brian. It's fresh from a nice trip to Ibrox yesterday. Nice 4-0 victory. First, we'll start off tonight by wishing Carr a speedy recovery. She's not feeling too great. That's why she's not joining us tonight. So I don't think it's anything too serious, but a bit of Mondayitis probably. But yeah, wishing her a speedy recovery, and hopefully she'll be back with us after the international break.
Absolutely. Demi, how are we?
Yeah, I'm all right. I mean, I dare say Carr's sore throat might have something to do with Waterbury coming on Ibrox yesterday, but...
I did wonder when that happened. I thought, oh, well, Carr will be happy at least. Alan, how are we?
I'm good. Really good day yesterday, so great to see some momentum continuing after a cup final. So really positive time watching the women's team right now.
Absolutely, it really is. They've certainly had a good, rich reign of form, league and sort of cup ways. So it's really good. It's really positive. But I'm afraid this positivity will just pause for a moment because, as Martin said on the afternoon rabble to the members that were watching this afternoon, there wasn't a good experience as far as the hospitality was concerned. Wolf and Demi were both, I believe, in the hospitality. So
What was Alan?
Oh, Alan was as well. So there's full house. We're in hospitality. So I dare say the whole lot of you can have a little say. But Wolf, start us off. What transpired yesterday?
Getting into the suite was a shambles. They didn't sort of legislate for basically everybody turning up at the same time. So it basically took us half an hour to get up a set of stairs into Club 72, into Bar 72, or Club 72, whatever it's called these days. So that annoyed me. That really, really annoyed me. The actual hospitality offering, I believe, was quite good. Soup and sandwiches and chicken, and you got a couple of drinks included in the price here. You know, I mean, it was only 30 quid a ticket plus the VAT, so 36 quid a head, which I think was too cheap, given that the match ticket was £7. Your 2 drinks is probably going to be, 9 or 10 quid. There's half the price of your day straight away, but that's probably why. And as Demi pointed out, Mother's Day as well, there was a lot of families there. Mm-hmm. It's. I thought about it last night. It was actually cheaper to take your mother and your family to the game of hospitality than it would have been to take them upstairs to the restaurant yesterday. They could probably look at that, but I don't really want to throw the hospitality under the bus. I did send them an email at 1:20 yesterday expressing my displeasure, which I did get a reply from first thing this morning, which I'm quite happy about. It wasn't a great reply, but I'm waiting for a reply to my reply, if that makes sense. But yeah, if the team were as organised as the hospitality, they'd be fighting relegation, not fighting for a title.
Yeah, it's the only seems to be the only shining light just now. The women's team, they're winning cups and winning games handsomely just now. So it's about the only thing that is going right at the club. Demi, you've done obviously hospitality a few times. But from what Martin and Wolf have said, it wasn't great from the start to the finish, was it?
I mean, I wouldn't say from start to finish. I think at the start, it was a bit ridiculous, taking that long to get in. And, when you did get in, there was sort of the queues kind of for the food, for the drink to get in. They all kind of merged into one. So you didn't really know what you were standing queuing for. But I think after that, from sort of halftime onwards, it was good, managed to get a drink at halftime, drink after the game. There was, when they opened the second suite, when we all went back in at halftime, there was more room. So I wouldn't say it was a disaster from start to finish. There was teething issues, shall we say, for getting in at the start. But I think after that, it was all right.
Yeah, Alan, it's something that you expect when you buy a hospitality ticket, that you have a very good match day experience. The moment you walk in, to the moment you leave. But by all accounts, that wasn't the case yesterday. There was obviously elements that were okay, but the vast majority of it wasn't. So it's quite disappointing to hear that, isn't it?
It's really all about planning, because I don't think any can really fault any of the attitude, any of the staff who were brilliant. But for the club to not expect that everybody's going to turn up at the same time when hospitality is only opening an hour and a half before the game. So if people are paying for hospitality, you're going to go in at the start of it. It's not that you've got a 3-hour window before the game starts. It's not like hospitality is opening at 11 o'clock to let people drip in. So it really needs to be a smoother process. And it was far too busy in that lounge. If you're doing hospitality, you expect to have a bit of comfort, a bit of, not necessarily luxury, but a really good experience. And they bring players up, which is obviously great. But you'd expect if you're in hospitality, you'll have a reasonable chance of going and seeing him. But lots of people in that lounge would have had no chance of getting near the players that came up just to have a wee chat with him or whatever.
Yeah, because I think that in every most of the hospitalities that are at the club, there's always an ex-player or a representative of the club in that sort of specific hospitality. So as Alan's saying, not everybody would have got the chance yesterday, which is kind of half the reason why, well, a good reason why a lot of people do the hospitality is to meet ex-players or current players that are injured or a representative, and to not get that's a bit gutting, isn't it?
Well, they brought Sarah and Liv up before the game, but I mean we were still queuing to get actually get into the suite when they kind of were ushered past us, and that was after 1 o'clock, for the 2 o'clock kickoff. So they did have them there. Then after the game, they had Kirsty Howitt and Camille Lefay. They were brought in as well for photographs, and that was great. And some people did, but as Alan says, it was too busy. I mean, to me, if you're selling hospitality, you sell for the amount of seats you've got.
Yeah.
I mean, when we got in there an hour before kickoff. We'd been queuing for half an hour again, and we couldn't get a seat. There was no seats left. Now, how do they expect you to eat soup and sandwiches and have a drink standing up?
Yeah.
You've only got two hands. It's a good trick to be able to balance the food, even just balance the food without a drink in your hand and eat it. You know what I mean? So it was the organisation of it really. As Alan says, you can't really fault the staff. They did their best. The bar service was a shambles, but there wasn't enough behind the bar. But I've found that's an Ibrox trait. No matter what kind of function you go to Ibrox, there's never enough staff behind the bar. I don't know why they think it's a Scottish football ground and people won't drink. You know what I mean? I just don't get that. I mean, because everybody that comes in, we're all getting two complimentary drinks, right? You're getting tokens for 2 drinks when you go in. So that's included in the price of your ticket. You're going to spend them. Supposing you're only having 2 cans of Coke.
Yeah.
You still need to get them from somebody behind the bar. You know what I mean? So surely if they're expecting, I saw something on social media last night, there's over 500 folk in hospitality. I find that a bit hard to believe, but if that was the numbers, right, then they're expecting 2 members of bar staff to serve 1,000 drinks in the course of maybe an hour and a half. You know what I mean? Come on, that's stretching it a little bit. You know what I mean? But let's move on to football. I mean, I don't really want to.
No.
It was badly organised. They've assured me in the email I got that they'll learn from it and it won't be as badly organised again. For me, they just oversold the tickets. If they hadn't oversold the tickets, none of this would have happened, I don't think. Or if they opened the entire bar 72, none of this would have happened. Because they were the same amount of space on the other side. Yeah,
absolutely. And of course, your experience in hospitality would have told you that things weren't looking great from the very start. So, but although the boss man has come in and says completely disagree with the staff, not the experience I had. So there's elements to this that have.
To be fair, I'm only going with what Alan said about some. I didn't speak directly to any of the staff because I'd probably got myself banned for Ibrox. I really wasn't happy. But the main reason I wasn't happy was I had a guest of the opposition team with me, and I said, let's go and experience some Ibrox hospitality, because we did hospitality at Tynecastle for the League Cup final last year at a similar cost, and it was a completely more positive experience. So obviously, I'm trying to. I'm okay. The guest was my girlfriend, but she's still a Hearts fan. More experience about Ibrox hospitality, and she's done hospitality at Ibrox before. You know what I mean? And it was just bad planning. I mean, as I just my final point on it. Right, one of the reasons they gave was the 2 guys at the top of the stairs checking everybody in. We're giving everybody a wristband. They're giving them their two tokens. So co-opt other people to do that. I mean, there was some of the fan engagement team were there. Now, that's not what they're there for. But listen, can we bother you for 10 minutes? Can you pass these out? That speeds it up. You know what I mean? It's not difficult. It was a very, very difficult. It was a very, very, for me, it was a very difficult thing to get wrong, and they got it wrong. Anyway, football. Let's talk football.
Yes,
That's why
yes, absolutely. I thought I'd just get that out of the way because it was needed to sort of be spoken about and sort of discussed. But Demi, the game yesterday, a good 4-0 win. Was it as comfortable as the scoreline suggested?
Yeah, I mean, we had before we even scored one, we could have been, we had 3 reasonably decent efforts at goal. So, yeah, I think when we sort of scored the first one, that sort of that early on, you sort of knew that we were going to keep scoring. So yeah, I'd say it was about as comfortable as the scoreline would seem. Hearts didn't really challenge us too much. I mean, they had a couple of shots, but nothing that Gen 5 couldn't deal with.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, were you expecting Hearts to be a bit more adventurous, or was that not the case purely because it was at Ibrox, big pitch, grass? Obviously, some sort of surroundings that Hearts aren't too familiar with.
I was surprised and almost disappointed in Hearts, to be honest. After they'd really gave us a tough game at Broadwood a few weeks ago, I expected them to start much faster. But Hearts were really not at the races at all. They were never really in the game. They had the odd couple of chances, but as Demi said, nothing Jenna Fife had any sort of trouble with. Even the only one she didn't hold, she could tell that she had plenty of time and just took a safe option, palmed it down, and then picked it up on the second bounce. So we were really comfortable right through the game. And all you want to see is a team go and actually take advantage of that and make sure that there's no sort of worrying moments as the game gets to the end and you're sitting on a 1-goal lead. We went out and we actually killed the game. So that was one of the most pleasing things because we have gone the last couple of games at Ibrox. But I think coming off the back of playing the cup final last week on grass at Fir Park, it's a perfect time to get back to Ibrox and give the girls a chance to go and play at Ibrox and go and get their confidence up a wee bit and belief playing there.
Absolutely. As you say, they've not had. I would say they've had indifferent results at Ibrox. They've had some good ones, but they've also had some, not so good ones. But the team in general, Wilf, Jenna Fife in goals, Nick Dock, Catherine Hill and Leah Eddy in the defence, Brogan Hay, Chelsea Cornett, Kirsty McLean, Jodie McCleary, Camille Lefay in the midfield with Kirsty Howitt and Rio Hardy up front. Was there any standout surprises out of that, or were you pretty happy with the team?
No, Wilco not starting was a bit of a surprise, to be honest, given it was Ibrox and Hearts. We thought would have been a tougher nut to connect than they actually were. I mean, as Demi and Alan have both said, Hearts were fairly disappointing. I mean, the way Hearts set up was mystifying. I mean, they took the kick-off and straight from kick-off, they rolled the ball back to their goalkeeper, who was standing 40 yards from goal. I mean, she was basically playing sweeper, and they did it again. Every time they kicked the game off. So, I mean, the first goal, which we'll get on, was Brogan taking the ball off her when she was in the middle. She was basically just outside the D on the centre circle. She was playing so high, and they set up like that from the very, very start. I'd love to speak to their coaching staff and say, what were they actually trying to achieve? Because, I mean, as I say, Carol was at the game with, and every time we broke up one of their attacks, all she said to me was just boot it up the park, it'll go in. Because their keeper was almost on the halfway line most of it. I mean, even at the very start of the game, they played the ball back to her and she was between the arc of the D at the edge of the box and the arc of the centre circle. You know what I mean? Which to me is mental. I've got absolutely no idea. You know what I mean? No idea what she was doing. I don't know why they set up like that. I don't know what they were trying to achieve. And whatever it was, it certainly didn't work.
Absolutely. Demi, the first goal. Rangers are defending a corner. It gets played out. The midfield play it back to the centre half. The centre half in turn plays it to the goalkeeper. Brogan Hay is bearing down on the centre half as it was. She then continued and challenged the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper made a complete Horlicks of it. And Brogan Hay had the simplest task, just to trot up the park and put it in the goal.
Yeah, I mean, like Dad just said, the keeper was doing it the whole game. You've got to look at. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that in a game. Every time she was, and she's not particularly. I wouldn't say she's particularly talented with the ball at her feet. So it's a rogue decision for. She was an all right shot stopper, but with the ball at her feet, not so great. So you've got to really question why she's doing that. But when Brogan took it past her at one point, I thought Brogan was going to dribble the ball in because she just kept going. but she didn't take the shot. So at one point, I genuinely thought that she was just going to, just dribble over the line, but she took the shot and it was 1-0.
Absolutely. And Alan, is this a bit of a surprise that was Brogan's first goal at Ibrox?
Probably not, because yeah, she's certainly had games at Ibrox, but in the grand scheme of things, we've probably not even made it to 10 games at Ibrox for a women's team. Unfortunately, we'll get Carol or who might be correct me on that, but it's brilliant to see, because Brogan has been with the team for so long, and getting a moment, and it would probably, you wonder what's going through a player's mind when you're running 50 yards clear of the goal with nobody in front of you. There's probably a lot of paranoia. I really hope I don't miss this, but I was great pressing and defending the corner that came from. I was just saying at the game, I really hate this, that we don't have anybody up the park. We're defending with 11 in the box, but Brogan broke out and put a lot of pressure on. Pressured the defender. They just kept moving it back to the goalkeeper, who took an absolute horror of a touch, gave Brogan a chance to go and block a second touch, and then just clean through and goal. And Rachel Johnson's one of the highest rated young keepers in the country, and she'll have nightmares about her game yesterday.
Very much so. Just a quick one to JP on X. I believe he's watching. I've taken note of your comments, and I will be bringing them up later in the show, so don't think I'm ignoring them. I have just taken a note of them. We'll speak about the game first, then we'll speak about other things later on. But Wolf, were you, the last person that centre half or midfielders wanting bearing down them is Brogan Hayes. She's pretty much the quickest player in the league. It's just calamitous from start to finish, wasn't it?
Oh, it's a disaster for Rachel Johnston, and as Alan says, she's quite a highly I can't even speak, highly regarded goalkeeper. And she's, as I said earlier, I've got no idea why they set her up so far, and it didn't stop her, because she still carried on coming that far out her goal. I just don't understand it. Goalkeepers are goalkeepers for a reason, and it's normally because they're not very good with the ball at their feet. You know what I mean? And you see her running back. You can throw the Benny Hill music in, because there's not a chance that she's catching Brogan. You know what I mean? I don't even think Brogan glanced back once, because she knew she had her beat. And as Demi says, you thought Brogan was going to run it all the way into the net, because you know how many times you've seen that players through like that, and they just go to stroke it in the net, and it takes a bobble, or it hits that bad touch, and it goes by the post. You know what I mean? I thought she's going to run this all the way in past the 6-yard line just to make sure. You know what I mean? It would have been funny if she'd done the old one you used to do in school, stopped it on the line, bent down and headed it in. You know what I mean? That would have been quite funny. Totally disrespectful, but it would have been quite funny. Giving Brenda something else to moan about us being disrespectful. But no, Brogan was never missing that. As soon as she took the ball off the keeper, because by the time the keeper turns, Brogan's inside the box. Because she's that quick. You know what I mean? She's that quick with the ball at her feet.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, did that settle the team down, Demi, in the sense that, they've scored after 7 minutes? An early goal settles the team down. Did you feel from that moment on that there was only going to be one result?
Yeah, I thought from the start there was only going to be one result. Obviously Hearts gave us a tough game at Broadwood last time, but you've got to look, total different circumstances now. We've just played, a cup final against top of the league on a wide grass pitch, whereas Hearts would have had, the weekend off. So you've got to look at that as well. And just after, the fact that we took 5 off of Hibs last week, you sort of knew we were going to win on a sort of wider pitch. But yeah, you could really see the sort of team settle down a little bit more once Brogue scored that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alan, Brogan turned provider for the second goal. Good build-up play, works it out to the left-hand side to where Brogan was. A good deep cross towards the back post, not quite the back post, and Rio is there to nod it in the far corner.
Yeah, and it was Rio that laid the ball out wide to Brogan, and as Rio does when she lays the ball out wide like that, she's straight in the box. Rio knows where it's Lizzie or Brogan or where it's Mia, that if she goes and gets herself in a good area in the box, there's a very good chance they're going to find her. And that's exactly what she did. She ran off, I think it was Lizzie Wildy, and just helped the ball carry on its sort of direction into the corner and past the keeper. I think getting the second goal pretty much put the game to bed. You only want one more really just to put a bit of gloss on it, but getting that goal to make sure we went in at half-time 2-up, I think it was about 38 minutes or something. It was a really good time to score it, and be good to see Rio Hardy scoring at Ibrox as well.
Absolutely. And Wolf, do you feel signing Rio Hardy, signing Katie Wilkinson, that players of that ilk, brings obviously a different dimension to the attack, in the sense that we were never known for scoring with headers, but since these two have arrived at the club, we score a lot of headers now, don't we?
Yeah, because that's what they do. They're goal scorers, and goal scorers score all sorts of different goals. I mean, they're not just targets to throw balls on top of. I mean, Paul's right. We put in some great crosses. We put in some great crosses every week when we're on our game, and it just needs somebody to meet them. And sometimes they don't all go in. But I mean, Rio's second goal, which we'll get to, was a better header than our first one. You know what I mean? And all she had to do was angle it into the corner. That they score all sorts of headed goals. It's not, it's not your centre forward running in and powering it past the keeper. There's little deft flicks, and even a lot of the setup play that the goal's not a header, but it's a header down that leads to the goal. There's loads of that. And it's not just from Rio, from Rio and Wilco. They're all quite good at it. You know what I mean? But it is nice to have them up top. You know what I mean? For set pieces, we've also got we've got Tess when she plays. We've got Kathy. We've got a lot of height in the team that's getting better and better. And obviously these two that are used to scoring attacking headers are obviously helping the defenders attacking the ball at the right end of the park.
Absolutely. But Demi, it's just nice that the variation that we can score now. It's not just good passes in the box and a good finish. There's elements. It doesn't have to be a corner. It could be a free kick. It could be anything. Just open play crosses. It's nice to have that option. For the women's team to be able to score with the head, because I know heading the ball is obviously a sort of hot potato just now, with obviously the dementia stuff and all that. But it's nice to see the women taking advantage of that sort of situations.
Yeah, I mean, we've never particularly, across both teams, we've never really been known to have height in the team. And even, some of our smaller players, they've just got the strength to be able to go up and win a header. So it's not even particularly just the tall ones. But yeah, it's good. I mean, attacking wise, we've got sort of, loads of different players. Now, I wouldn't really say that, Katie Wilkinson, she's not the most, how do I put this nicely? She's not the most, she's not likely to move to get the ball for herself. She'll kind of wait for someone to pass her the ball, then she'll take the shot, Whereas you've got Kirsty, Howitt, and I suppose even Rio Hardy, who'll, they'll go find the ball for themselves to create the chances. So it's also good to see, we've got different types of strikers up there as well. So, I mean, having that mixture up front can't be easy for any backline.
Mobile is the word you were looking for, Demi.
Thank you. I was trying not to be disrespectful.
And obviously 2-0 at half time, Alan, and didn't take long for the third to come, 5 minutes after the restart. A short corner, which, as you all know, I'm not a fan of. I hate them, but on this occasion it worked. Brogan played the short corner, got the ball back, gave it to Kirsty Howitt, and Kirsty Howitt picked out Rio Hardy with a really good cross. And as Wolf said just moments ago, really good header from Rio to get it in that far corner.
Yeah, she certainly had to do a lot more work with that header than she did for her first goal, but well worked corners. It was probably a majority of corners we took yesterday were all shot. I don't really think it was particularly windy. I'm not really sure why that was a preference. I think it was probably just a choice that they felt that was where they'd get a bit of benefit and a bit more gain out of Hearts. Sometimes it's good to take a short corner if you're getting the ball in early still, because the defenders start moving away from goal, which makes it harder for them to attack it and clear it. But good work by Kirsty Howitt to just generate a wee bit of space, cut inside, and just put a lovely cross in. Rio's done the work, and she's thoroughly deserved that goal. And as the club said on the commentary on the highlights, when Rio and Kirsty get really moving and playing together, they tend to link up very, very well, and that's a very important partnership for us.
Yeah, it really is. And Wolf, just a quick word on Kirsty Howitt. She's really came to life in the last few weeks. Player of the match performance last week. Assists this week. She did a power of work in that cup final. She ran herself into the ground. I was actually amazed she lasted as long as she did, because she was she was knackered way before she came off. But that's just Kirsty, isn't it? She just works so hard for the team, and she can finish, and she can also assist.
Well, Kirsty's playing for the team that she loves.
Yeah,
and she's got that opportunity, and she's been around the block. You know, it's taken her a fair amount of time of her career to get to Ibrox. You know, to be playing for Rangers and to get to the Rangers to get to the level that she wants to be playing at for them, and she's loving every minute of it. And she's obviously going to. I mean, basically, she is every single one of us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, she's doing everything that we want to do. Kirsty Howe is living that dream, and she leaves everything out there all the time. I mean, she runs her heart out even if it's not working. She never gives up. She's just, you know, and just look. I mean, go back to last Saturday at Motherwell, week past Saturday at Motherwell. Look how happy she was at winning a cup for Rangers, and it's not the first cup she's won for Rangers. You know what I mean? It means that much to the club. Means that much to her. She's obviously going to run her heart out, and it's infectious. And having folk like that around the team, it must help the other players. You know, I mean, you can see how much Camille LaFace taken to it. You know what I mean? Kirsty Howe has got to have played a huge part in that. You know what I mean? Because her love for the club is infectious. You can tell it's infectious. You know what I mean? She's the sort of person you need about the club. And when you've got passion like that, when you've got the skill that she's got, when you've got the ability to score goals, and she scores all sorts of goals. You know what I mean? It can only be good for the team.
Absolutely. I mean, Demi, I was going to go somewhere else next with you, but Wolf's just sort of brought something to my attention. You know, is the fact that there is so many Rangers supporting players in the team helping everybody else around the club, as in the new players, you know, driving sort of forward the sort of the standards that, you know, Rangers should have. Is that? I mean, obviously it's totally different, but is that something that is missing from the men that the women have?
Yeah, and I said it last week on the pod, you know, you could see, you know, like last Saturday when, you know, at full time when they played Penny Arcade, every single one of them, you know, they knew the songs. I mean, Camille LaFay, Liv, they all knew it, you know. So they have to learn it from somewhere. They don't just wake up and know, oh, I'm going to know the words to this song. So, you know, they've obviously had it sort of drilled into them. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really say it's not so much as missing in the men's game. It's just more so the women's game. We've actually, you know, we've got fans playing there. The men's games, it's just the long term players have, you know, they've sort of grown to be fans, but they didn't grow up fans. You know, I mean, in there, just off the top of my head, you've got Jodie McCleary, Innie, Kathy, Nick, Kirsty, and I mean that's literally just off the top of my head. You know, they all support Rangers, so it's got to be, you know, good to have them around because everyone can tell them, you know, not only how important it is to play for Rangers, but you know how much it means to them as fans to win things because how they feel is exactly how we feel to win things.
Absolutely. And Alan, great point from Paul here. I think you can see the big difference in the team now that we have a fully fit Chelsea Cornet in the team with little Iniesta next to her. I think that has been a cog in the wheel that's been made perhaps missing for the last few games. Well, up till a couple of games ago where Chelsea was not playing and featuring. That there's a bit of steel in that, you know, back in that midfield now because Chelsea is so integral to that midfield, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely. As is Kirsty McLean. And both of them have suffered a lot of injuries over the course of the season. And it takes a bit of time when you've been out for a while to really get back into the groove. But I think we're also not trying to shoehorn Liv into that mix as well. And it offers a bit of balance to the team, having Chelsea and Innie plus somebody playing in front of him instead of trying to play three in the centre and then they're almost sort of stepping on each other's toes. You know, I think balance in the team with the work that Chelsea and Kirsty do in the middle of the park, they know how each other play, they know each other's strengths and they cover really well for each other. Similar to having the balance at back with Leah on the right and Nick on the left. We're a far better team going forward when we're set up well at the back and in the centre. It makes such a difference, not only to how we defend, but how we attack and how we control games. So, you know, Paul's absolutely bang on the fact that Chelsea and Kirsty are getting a proper run in the team and getting minutes in the legs. But just hope they'll go away and come back raring to go after our international break.
Brian, can I just Can I just address this from JD? Liv's got a knock because she was in the hospitality before the game yesterday. She's got a slight, I think it was a thigh strain. She said she had. She's hoping to be back after the international break, but it sounds like she won't be going away with England under 23s because of the knock that she's got. So it's nothing serious. She hopes to be back that'll be for the Celtic game on the 13th. So nothing to worry about JD. It's nothing serious. But you're right. It was great to see them celebrating in the dugout. That was fantastic.
Yeah, very much so. And Wolf, the last goal. Watching it, I thought, oh, she's got away with one there because that could have easily been given as a foul, but thankfully it wasn't. And then the cross was picked out, and Brogan was at the back post too. Well, again, I think the goalie will be sort of not wanting to watch that one back. 4-0.
Yeah, I thought at the time it was a foul. I thought she was lucky. The referee was as the referees are at that level. I mean, the ones that the grade 1 referees aren't very good, so these guys aren't going to be very good either. I don't think he was great. He was very, very slow to get his cards out. You know what I mean? Hearts were kicking everything above the grass at times, and he kept the cards in the pocket. I mean, at one point in the first half, Demi said to me, "Next foul with Hearts is a booking." You know what I mean? Because it was systematic. It was different players all the time, but it just seemed to be systematic. Which isn't like them at all. To be fair, they don't usually do that, but he kept them in his pocket and then he booked one of them for pulling. I can't remember who it was pulling a Rangers player back. And then 2 minutes later, our teammate did exactly the same, and he just nothing happened. You know what I mean? It was so inconsistent. But yeah, I thought it was a foul at the time, but she got away with one. The ball broke the custody Howitt, who sticks it across the goal. The keeper just completely flaps at it. Just, you know, the keeper of a nightmares about it. But as Alan said earlier, not one of her best days. She just needs to dust herself off, try and forget about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then Brogan sticks it in. I mean, Brogan two goals, 2 assists. You can't ask for better. You can't really ask for better than that, can you?
No, certainly not. Certainly not. And I'll read a couple of the questions that JP asked before coming to you, Demi. My main fear for Rangers turn out like a Chelsea or an American-owned team where the tickets are sold via third-party websites targeted at tourist fans. This takes the heart and soul out of the club. And then he followed up with another one asking, what's your thoughts on the women's team under the American ownership? They've been hit and miss in the English Premier League in terms of investment and marketing. Now, this is obviously going to, I would imagine, America, as everybody knows, the USA national team have been heavily backed for years, Demi. You know, they're the best in the world. They have been for a long time. I can't see much changing other than the level of investment just carrying on.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that they can't just come in, and just change it all. We've got a squad, a pretty solid squad as well. We've got loads of young ones coming through, one's out on loan. So the only way I sort of see any change in there is investors coming in with more money, and any money they give us has got to be great. So, but I don't think there's going to be too much change in terms of the women's team when the American investors come in.
No, I mean, Alan, do you see the status quo carrying on and even maybe an increase in the sort of budget for the women?
I doubt there'll be much an increase. I think we've probably already got the biggest budget in the league. I'm not sure, obviously, about the boy Andrew Kavanagh who's coming in with the 49ers, but in terms of, you don't see a great deal of negativity from Leeds fans or San Francisco fans, in how they operate the club. So I don't think they're going to come in here and want to settle for second best. If you're already got the biggest budget, you'll probably add a bit to it and look to push how do you actually grow income from a women's game. How do you start generating bigger crowds? It might increase the ticket price a wee bit, but how do you start generating that buzz, that atmosphere, that match day experience? It starts bringing money into the club. So I think we might see a wee bit more sort of development on that front, because there's a lot of people behind the scenes trying to push the development of the sort of women's team, the women's game, and the match experiences, but we're limited because we're playing at North Lanarkshire Council's ground and not our own. So, in time, possibly we'll see more changes like that, but I think they'll very much want to come in and maintain our position as a top team.
Absolutely. Thanks, JP, for your questions. Much appreciated. obviously yesterday, the fixture, the round of fixtures started on Friday night. Celtic were playing Glasgow City. Glasgow City won 2-1 on Friday night. We had Motherwell at home to Hibs. Hibs won 3-0. Dundee United 2, Queen's Park 3. Rangers 4, Hearts 0. Spartans 3, Montrose 2. Partick 1, Aberdeen 2. I mean, Wolf, all eyes were on Friday night. What was going to happen there? I think the draw was the most preferable result, but, well, it's not too bad a result, was it?
A draw would have been perfect for us, but I mean, who doesn't like to see that other lot getting beat at any level with any team? It was also nice to see Vaclav Černý put in an appearance during the second half when he started spraying water across the pitch and the Celtic team ran for their lives. I've never said that. I think that's the fastest they moved all day. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, that sprinkler going off was funny. That was gifts galore. That was fantastic. Yeah, I watched the first half of it when I was on the Friday night pod, and then I watched the second half downstairs. I think, to be honest, that probably put Celtic out of the title race.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we can absolutely put them out of the title race because our next game up is against them a week on Sunday, because obviously next week's international break. So we can be sitting here in 2 weeks' time, the next time we're on the women's show. Top of the league, if depending on what happens with Hibs, or certainly, you know, still just behind Hibs, and Celtic completely out of the race. I mean, the way they're going, they could be lucky to finish fifth, which is quite nice. You know, I mean, unfortunately, they can't drop below sixth, but that's just the way it goes when you have a split, I suppose. But yeah, it's a draw would have been absolutely perfect for us. But if one of them's got to win, then fine, let it be City, just because it's that other lot in it.
Absolutely. And just as you mentioned, the next set of round of fixtures, as far as the top six are concerned, it's Hibs at home to Hearts, Glasgow City at home to Motherwell, and Rangers at home to Celtic. So Edinburgh derby, Old Firm derby, Demi. Things, as we've said at the very start of this, when the split came, there's a whole heap of, there's potentially a lot of change coming in the weeks to come as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and I mean, so these are sort of, our game against them and the Edinburgh derby. You've got to, form kind of goes out the window for these games. So, Hearts have kind of dropped significantly further behind the other lot in Hibs. So, it could go, both games could go either way. You can't take form into those games. We've had a couple really good performances. Okay, Hibs out with the cup. They've had quite a few good performances in the league of late, but all that goes out the window. It's just whoever wants it more on the day.
Absolutely. And of course, the league table sits as this. Hibs are top on 60 points, plus 61 after 24 games. Rangers second on 58 points with 106 goals difference. Glasgow City are third on 57 points with 80 goal difference. Celtic on 51 points with 64 of a goal difference, and Hearts on 49 after 57. So, as Wolf was just saying, Alan, Celtic are pretty much effectively out of it. But we could really do that next week. But it's almost a 3-horse race now, isn't it?
It's definitely getting there. But I remember back 2 years ago under Malky, we came from about 9 points behind and went to the last game of the season very late on. So as much as if we beat them next time, they'll be very, very close to being out. It's still a big ask for us. We've not beaten them at Broadwood in the league since we moved to Broadwood, and that's something that has to change. Touching on this week's results elsewhere, if anybody watches any of the highlights, Dundee United are gone at the bottom, but they were 2-0 up against Queen's Park at home, and Queen's Park scored in the last 2 injury time to go first 2 each and then 3-2. And it was one of our loan players, young Sophie Rutherford, who scored the goal. So if you want some wild celebrations, go and check that goal out, because that's what you like to see in football, and you certainly like to see our young players going and doing well. But we've got the international break, and a massive game for us to come back to. Absolutely massive. And we need to really put in these performances in the big games, because there's so much can change in a split. Playing each team twice, really add something. And we need to make sure we get that monkey off our back, beating them at Broadwood.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. So as Wolf and everybody else says, excuse me, there's an international break on the horizon, so we will not see you for a couple of weeks. We obviously will have a Monday off next week, so everybody has been given leave for next Monday night at 6:30. So, but we are back at 7:30 tonight with the main Rangers pod. I believe Alan and myself are back on that again, so we will see you very soon. But obviously, good. Hope Scotland play well in the international break because there's a few of our players involved. So, it'd be nice to get them involved and perform well. But my thanks to Wolf. Thank you very much.
No problem, Brian. You're wrapping up before I get a chance of a wee rant about the fixture clash again, because the old
Fire away then.
The Old Firm game kicks off 2 hours after we came out of Pittodrie, which is an absolute disaster. Because obviously, I did sort of think out loud, can I make Broadwood in 2 hours? And I was told resoundingly, don't even fucking think about it. So, and then obviously Glasgow City the following Wednesday. And I'll be in Barcelona on my way to Bilbao. So that's two I'm going to miss. But the second one's down on me, I suppose. You can't really blame them on that. But I still say, I don't think I've said it on here, but I've said it since the split fixtures came out. The last week of fixtures, we're away to Hearts on the Wednesday. And I'll say it in public record, that's the night we win the league.
I'm not sure I'm going to be that brave.
Well, has been saying that for quite some time, so he's sticking to his guns. And listen, I'll certainly be at the Orium that night, and I'll be more than delighted to partake in some celebrations if that prophecy comes through.
So will I, and Demi will have champagne in the boot of the car just in case.
Wolf's doubling down on this Hearts away fixture, so
when the fixtures came out, and I just looked at them and went, sorry, Brian, the fixtures came out, I looked at them and went, that's when we win the league. I don't know why, I just think that's when we'll win the league. I hope I'm right.
So do I. So do I. Absolutely. Demi, thank you for joining us.
No worries, thank you.
Yeah. Alan, thank you.
Thanks very much, and I'll see you very shortly, Brian.
I will do, yes. But as I said before, we've got a 2-week break now with the international break. So we will not see you next Monday, but catch us in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for joining us, and we'll speak to you very, very soon.